Ian's hold got tighter and I could feel his body tense and shake with anger. I should have felt scared, but instead I strangely felt safe in his arms. It's, I think brain think. Should I tell him the truth or should it be yet another lie? I hate lying to him, but it's for his own good. I got scared, okay. We were getting so close and I've never been with someone. I've never shared my life with another man before, so I freaked. I ended whispering the last part as it hurt saying it out loud, breaking my heart all over again. It wasn't the truth, but it wasn't a lie either. Ian's grip loosened and we both sat up, cross-legged facing each other. I realized that we were both still naked. My gaze fell to Ian and his manhood. I blushed scarlet and turned to hide my innocent shame as I rustled the covers over myself. Ian's eyes lit with amusement before he used the blankets to cover himself also. But what made you so scared all of a sudden? One day we were fine, we both confessed our love and I was the happiest man alive. I was fucking floating on cloud 9. But then the next day you disappear and now you tell me it was going too fast and ended it because you were scared. Ian was angry. I had never seen him this way before. I backed away and lowered my head, unable to verbally answer, so I just nod. That's not fucking okay, Mia. I flinched at his harsh words as hot tears ran down my cheeks. Ian lifted me and rested me on his lap, wrapping his arms around my waist and arms for comfort, and I pushed my head into his chest. If you had just come to me, told me how you were feeling, then we could have sorted this out. Fuck. Ian sighs, I would have done anything if it meant you stayed and save all this heartache. Ian tried to stay calm for my sake, but I could feel his anger raging through him. He did truly love me, and it hurt him to hear that I was hurt. It melted my heart. I love him so much. We just sat there in silence. I'm sorry, I whispered so quiet I hardly heard it myself. What for, baby? Ian genuinely sounded confused. Because I'm a disappointment. No wonder no one has loved me before. Ian's grip on my arm tightened as his fingers dug into my skin. Oh, I'm sorry, baby. Ian's eyebrows pushed together, realizing he was taking his anger out on me. I didn't mean to. I love you. I love you. Always and forever. He loved me. Even after everything I had put him trough, he still loved me. He still wanted to be with me. I had to be with him. We couldn't be apart any longer. Ian, anger vanished from his face at the sound of me calling his name. His gaze fell to mine, giving me his full attention. I love you. Light glimmered in Ian's eyes as the corners of his mouth rose into a face-splitting smile, revealing his perfect pearl teeth. Oh, how I've missed this. Again. What? Say it again. I giggled, but obliged. I love you. In one swoop Ian lifted me of him and onto the bed. He hovered over me, his hands on either side of me. I giggled, delighted by Ian's joyful expression. You don't know how long I've been waiting to hear that. Ian slowly leaned in for a kiss. I lifted my finger to his lips, stopping him midway. What's wrong? Confusion replaced Ian's happiness. We can only do this if you promise not to tell anyone. Ian smiled again, happy lines formed around his big hazel eyes. Tell anyone about what? About us, not even your father. No one. Why? Just not yet, please. I promise, but soon. I want everyone to know that you're mine, knowing Richard won't find out. I couldn't resist Ian's lips again and so welcomed his plump and firm lips that sent shocks through my body. Oh, how I do love this man. Chapter 30. Keeping a secret. The 2 days in Utah went too quickly, but that was mostly due to the fact we never left our hotel room. We only left to go to the football game, which we won. So my weekend was the best. I got my two loves back. Ian and football. Being with Ian again made me feel whole again. I felt complete, and I know that's all lovey-dovey crap, but it's true. I don't think I could physical or mentally handle being apart from Ian. My body couldn't take the strain. I never want us to be apart, and the only thing, or should I say the only person getting in our way, is Richard. As long as we don't tell anyone and keep our secret quiet, then no one will have to get hurt, hopefully. It had been 5 weeks since our weekend getaway, and as I struggle through the crowds in the school hallway, it seems that of a distant memory. Ian has surprisingly been good at keeping our secret. We act like casual friends in front of everyone, and then when we re-alone, I cool DNT shake the smile off my face from think of Ian, of his body, the way his sweat dripped down his pecs and down his perfectly sculptured abs while we have sex. Oh no, I was starting to get turned on, just from the though of him inside of me. My cheeks flushed red and I quickly looked around seeing if anyone had noticed my dirty thoughts, but no one did. Sigh. Everyone was just focused on fighting their way through the crowds to their next lessons. Next think I knew hands appeared from nowhere and pulled me into an empty, dark classroom. My kidnapper locked the door behind us before pushing me against it and trapping both my hands above my body in one of his, while the other covered my mouth to silence me. I started to panic and fight against my strong opponent. I tried to scream through his hand, the room was too dark. I cool DNT see his face, but he smelt familiar. Shish, the hand covering my mouth moved and gently caressed my cheek, soothing my screams and panic. My kidnapper moved into the light shining from one of the chemistry windows. It was Ian. My heart sank and I instantly relaxed. I thought you were going to kill me. I shouted, angry and relived. Shish. You don't want people to hear us, and we have to be quick before students start to come in the classroom. Ian shot me a devilish smile. No, he doesn't want to do it here. No, Ian, not. I was silenced by his lips. My lips instinctively started to move with his, passionately and roughly. He bites my bottom lip asking for entrance to my mouth, which I gladly give to him, and our tongues start to dance. He tasted so sweet. I cool DNT resist. Wrapping his free arm around my waist, he pulls me closer to him and I instinctively wrap my legs around him, holding me in place as his other hand lets my hands free and start to explore my body. I pull away from Ian and gape at his handsome face and shot him a look saying, are we really going to do this here, with people just outside the door? He unzipped his pants and pulls my panties to the side, slipping his huge shaft into my wet and wanting pussy. I am so glad you wore a dress. He grunted softly in my ear. He lifts me slowly off his cock before filling me again, picking up the rhythm, and my body was exploding with pleasure. Students from outside banged on the door as the halls filled, but I am not paying attention. I am only focused on every move Ian makes. His fingers now sliding to my clit and I moan into Ian's chest to try and silence it, but it was no use, the pleasure was too much. His fingers relentlessly circling my clit while he fills me over and over until I explode around him. After a few more thrusts, Ian joins me in my climax and we slide to the floor in each other's arms. Panting hard, trying to catch our breaths. Come on, we need to go. Ian lifted us both up and pulled himself from me. As he did, I winced with pleasure as he rubs my throbbing pussy on his exit. Tonight my football practice was cancelled, so I thought I would walk home and take in summer's fresh air, the sun rays gently stroking my face, so peaceful. As I strolled out the school gates and bump into a hard wall forcing me to fall on my ass. OWWW, I looked up to find a huge man in a black suit and black sunglasses in my way, looking down at me with no emotion on his face. I dusted myself off. Hey, watch where you going. Why was he just randomly standing there? But he didn't respond to my anger, instead he just stepped aside giving me full view of the limo he was guarding. Ian. No, he was at football practice, then Richard. Chapter 31. You might have won the battle. I turned quickly on my heel and ran in the opposite direction, until strong arms circled my waist and pulled me back and threw me into the back of the limo. Hey, stop. I am being kidnapped, I screamed before the door slammed in my face, but no one came to my rescue. I was screwed. The car pulled away and started to drive to my unknown destination. Hello Mia, we meet again. I turned to find Richard sitting at the far end of the limo like a mob boss. Unfortunately, I said under my breath, too scared to say out loud. Where are we going, ULLC was all he said before we sat awkwardly in the back together. I rested my head against the blackout windows giving me no clue to where we were going. The car stopped and the bodyguard rushed to Richard's door. I ran out after him, too eager to see my destination. He wouldn't kill me, right? I was home. You drove me home. Richard smiled. It was creepy, obviously an expression he is not used to having on his face. He lifted his hand, insinuating that I walk first and open the door, and I obediently complied, holding the door open after me for His Highness. As soon as he entered he judged every inch of Mrs. Jones' house, his lips pouting in disgust. "There's the Richard the first no." I roll my eyes and threw my bag down. "So what can I stop?" As my face collided with Richard's hand and I fell to the floor, he slapped me. My hand instantly covers my red, throbbing cheek. "You had one job. You insolent little girl, How?" He knows. But how? Not even Sam knows. I couldn't trust that you would so simply leave. Stupid little girl, you didn't even notice the cameras around schools. Especially the ones in the classrooms, you whore. A sickening smile split his wrinkled face, sending a shiver down my spine with disgust. "So I've seen all your little get-together with my son, you quite the whore, like your mother." Tears blurred my vision as they descended my cheeks. "Don't talk about my mother like that, you bastard." I spat through my teeth. How dare he insult my mother? "Don't talk to me like that, you bitch." Richard slapped me again before lifting me by my hair to my feet. "Oh, stop," I begged, but he continued to drag me until my back hit the wall and his hand wrapped around my neck, keeping me in place no matter how much I struggled against it. "I tried to play nice, but you just keep disobeying me. All you had to do was stay away from my son." I tried so hard. I left him. I told him it was over between us, but he wouldn't leave me alone. I've tried. I laughed to myself. I guess he loves me more than I thought, huh? It had just clicked. All I had put Ian through, he still loved me and wanted to be with me. My thoughts were cut of an almighty blow to my head. Richard was now using his fists, punching me over and over again. I remember tasting blood in my mouth before I passed out cold on the floor, lying in my own pool of blood as I watch Richard leave. So this is the end. I never even got the chance to tell Ian the truth. Ian, Chapter 32. Hospital. Ian's POV. Mia hadn't been answering any of my calls, and I was starting to get worried. I know she said not to visit her home so that we wouldn't get caught, but I needed to know she was safe. I knocked frantically on her door, but there was no answer. I tried the door, it was open. She shouldn't keep this unlocked or anyone could walk in. My mouth went dry and I froze in the door frame as I saw the love of my life lying cold on the floor in a pool of her own blood. I ran to her side, shaking her, trying to get to respond. I couldn't think properly as the only reason for my sanity was laying close to death in my arms. "Okay, concentrate Ian, check her pulse. Shit. It's so faint. Next, call the ambulance. Mia, please be okay, please, ****. Mia's POV. My eyes fluttered open. Where was I? I scanned the white and clean room to find medical equipment. I looked down to see tubes and needles attached to me everywhere. What happened? I sat up, but fell back down instantly as my head pounded with pain. Oh right, Richard. But how did I get here? I looked over to Ian asleep, his head resting on my hand. His stubble told me I had been here for a while. Had he stayed with me all this time? My heart melted, and I felt tears filling my eyes. A nurse burst into the room, flicking through her charts. It took her a while to notice I was awake, but it was funny to see her stumble with shock when she did. "Oh honey, you re-awake from her words." Ian's head shot up and his tired hazel eyes looked deeply into mine before he engulfed me into a hug. "Oh Mia, I thought I lost you." His voice broke from the tears falling down his perfectly sculptured cheekbones. Even from the lack of care and hygiene, he still looked like a supermodel. Ian, my voice was too dry to talk. I pointed to the cool-looking jug of water on the table next to me. Ian chuckled and poured me a cupful, and in seconds I had chugged it down and held out the empty cup, wanting more. "Steady yourself, Miss Owens. You've only just come out of surgery." "Surgery? Shish, it's okay now, baby. Everything's fine." Ian smiled and instantly felt reassured. As long as Ian was here I felt so safe and secure, even if it was his father that did this. "Who did this to you, baby?" Ian shook with anger, his face turning red as he looked at my bandages. I don't know. I think it might have been a robber. I can't remember." I looked away from Ian, unable to lie to his face. "Not anymore." Mia. Ian questioned my response, not believing the answer I gave. "It's understandable that you would forget due to the force struck to your head." Now would you please leave Mr. Marsh while I talk with Mia? The nurse was strict, but I appreciated that she stuck up for me and that she was asking Ian to give me some space for a while. No. I am not leaving her side, not again. Ian's hand tightened on mine as he became more protective. Are you a family member? Mia's husband? No. I am her boyfriend. Then I am going to have to ask you to leave. They were both staring at each other, neither of them backing down. I tugged on Ian's arm until he broke off with the nurse and gently gazed into my eyes. Please Ian, she only wanted to help, that's right Mr. Marsh. I promise as soon as I am done, you can come back in. In surrender Ian gently kissed my forehead before exiting the room. Now Mia, you took a tremendous force to your head and lost a lot of blood. But you'll be happy to know that your baby is fine and healthy. I blanked out to the rest. What? Baby, wait, what was that? I looked at her, confused, and shock spread across my face. Oh, you didn't know? Yes, you are around 5 weeks pregnant. It's still early, but from what we can see, the baby is doing fine. But don't worry, we get young parents a lot and we can provide psychological and nursing help, or we can look down the path of abortion. I am pregnant. I am only a baby myself. I shouldn't keep this baby, should I? But I can kill what is part me and part Ian. Ian, shit, he doesn't know. How will he take the news that he is a father? What about Richard? If he finds out I am pregnant, both me and the baby will be in danger. You don't have to make a decision right away, Mia, but if you're going to abort, the sooner the better, because it will affect your body less. My eyes darted around the room, trying to think of anything. What was I going to do? Miss the nurse brought my attention back and I focused on her. I am keeping the baby. Chapter 33. Baby on board. I am pregnant. I am pregnant. I am pregnant. These words kept repeating in my mind as I laid there alone in the hospital bed. How could I have been so careless? We are having sex a lot. And without protection, so of course this was going to happen. How could we have been so stupid? Knock knock. Ian entered with a huge bouquet of red roses and a smile on his face, trying to cover the worry and blame he felt in his eyes. How are you feeling? I am feeling better. I still cool. Didn't snap out of my trance. My mind was still consumed by the thoughts of the mini-me growing inside of me. What's wrong? Oh crap. Ian can see right through me while my mind is somewhere else. I inhaled deeply and forced a wide smile on my face. Nothing, just tired of sitting in here all day. When can I go home? Ian's sadness was replaced by query as he questioned my response. Well, good news. I came to tell you that you can leave today. Ian wheeled me out of the hospital in a rental wheelchair and down to his huge black 4x4. He lifted me and gently places me in the passenger seat as if I was a china plate, so fragile. Ian. I am fine. You don't need to tread me so carefully. He laughed deeply as he continued to secure me to the seat. I gave in and sat there as he slowly shut my door and ran to his side. He pulled out of the hospital car park and began to drive home, finally, resting my head against the cold window. I gazed at the world passing by. Oh, how mine will soon end when I give birth. I won't even be able to finish school. So I'll have to get a job that won't even pay enough and look after mini-me on my own unless Ian wants to be a father. Then he'll go to work for his father who doesn't want anything to do with me. And Ian will never let me lift another finger, buy me everything and care for me the rest of my life. I don't like either situations. I wrapped my arms around my stomach. I've always wanted children, but not now. Not while I am still a child and can fend for myself. I love you, mini-me, but I don't think you will love me back if I bring you into such a hateful world. I looked back out the window and noticed that the further Ian drove, the bigger the houses became. Where are we going? I was confused. I thought Ian was talking me back to Mrs. Jones's home. Ian briefly looked from the road to me. But I live on the other side of town. This is the way to yours. No, it's now our house. What? I can move in with Ian, not with his father there. No, Ian. I want to go home. Ian kept his eyes on the road. His grasp on the wheel went tighter with rage. I am never letting you go back to that place. It's not safe. Ian spat. But if only he knew that going back to his house would be the least safest. I tried to open the car door. I had to think about Mini-Me now, and I don't want them to be anywhere near the reincarnation of the devil, also known as Richard. Please Ian, take me home. I begged. Why? I can protect you if you stay with me. If I let you go back there, I won't be able to sleep or eat knowing you re so far away and so vulnerable. I know it's selfish, but please I need you to stay with me. Oh Ian, it's not selfish of you at all. I want to stay with you, but what about Richard? It slipped out before I could stop the words. Ian, confused, looked at me and turned his head to the side, working out what relevance this situation had to his father. He's hardly ever home, he has an apartment closer to his office, Ian explained, still confused, but I felt relieved knowing that Richard wouldn't be there, but also that if I was with Ian at all times then his father hopefully wouldn't attempt anything in front of him. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Perfect. Ian finished tucking me tightly into his bed and took a step back to admire his work. He slipped into the bed next to me, pressing play on the DVD remote, and wrapped his arms around me. I rested my hand over Mini-Me. Perfect, I whispered to myself. Thank you for reading so far. If you like it then please give it a heart or comment *XXX. Chapter 34. Revealed. Ian, don't give me those puppy dog eyes. You need to go to school. Ian laid next to me, snuggling and hugging me, trying to persuade me that he should stay home with me. He was so cute, but I really needed some alone time. But I need to stay with you. No, it's been a week already. I don't want you to miss out, and also I was starting to show. Mini-Me has started to grow and therefore the bump is beginning to get bigger and bigger. If Ian stays by my side any longer he will start to notice. Alright, but I will come home as quick as I can. He kissed my forehead before shuffling out his bedroom. Finally I was alone. I slowly wobbled off the bed. It had been so long since I had walked on my own. Ian didn't leave my side the whole time. I even had to argue with him to let me go to the toilet on my own. I stretched all my limbs as they adjusted to new movements my body made, and I wobbled to the suitcase Ian had brought from Mrs. Jones's house filled with my belongings. I rustled through my clothes until I came across the pregnancy test I had took at the hospital just after hearing the news. I didn't believe them and I needed to see it for myself. 2 pink lines, yep, pregnant. What are you doing here? I turned on my heel to find Richard at the door and my mouth instinctively dried, sweat beading on my forehead with fear. I quickly hid the pregnancy test behind my back while my other hand covered my stomach, protecting Mini-Me. I guess my motherly instincts are kicking in. Noerm Ian, I cool dnt talk. I was too scared to form a proper sentence. What are you hiding? Nothing. I pushed the test further behind my back, hoping Richard wouldn't notice, but I was never that lucky. Richard stomped towards me and tightly gripped my wrist, too strong for me to resist and fight against. He pulled my arm from my back and before him was my positive pregnancy test. We stood there in silence. He had nothing to say, but I could feel the rage flow through him. His grip on my wrist tightened, making me loose grip of the test, making it fall to the ground. You pregnant, Richard spat as he threw me across the room. My back smashed against the wall and I slid to the floor. You whore. You pregnant. I could see the anger fill Richard's gaze. I cowered with fear. This was the scariest I had ever seen him. I scrunched into a ball to protect my stomach from any attack, but Richard just lifted me up against the wall by my neck. I scrambled, trying to release myself before the oxygen left me. I would have thought the first time I asked you to stay away from here would be enough. I mean, I even threatened your own mom, but you just cool dnt stay away. Then when I left you for dead in your own fucking pool of blood. I thought that the message would have gotten through that thick skull of yours, but you just keep coming back like a pest. Richard spat through his clenched teeth. I will never leave again. I love Ian and no matter what you do to me he will always love me back. I don't know where I summoned the strength to say that, but I surprised myself. I winced, waiting for the sharp contact of his fist to my body. Instead I was released. I was confused, but my body collapsed and I passed out. Ian POV. Richard held Mia up by her throat. My hands clenched into a tight fist. He was the reason we had broken up and it was my fault her mother had to move away and why she ended up in hospital. It was all my fault. But why would my father do this to the woman I love, to the person who was carrying my child? I cool dnt control my anger any longer. I had heard enough. And before I know it I had burst into the room and pulled Richard off Mia and on the floor, repeatedly punching his face until I felt the stickiness of his blood on my fist. I cool dnt stop, he had hurt the one person I had ever truly loved, the only person whom I've ever had to fight for, the mother of my child. Richard stilled beneath me, and with one last punch I stopped his heartbeat was faint. I cool dnt kill him, even though he was a wanker, he was my father. I got to my feet and walked over to Mia, who had passed out. How could I have not known? Why didn't she tell me? I lifted her gently and carried her to a guest bedroom, as far away from my father as I could, and placed her on the bed, making sure she was comfortable. I laid next to her, wrapping one arm around her neck, pulling her closer to my body, whilst the other carefully rested on her stomach, over my child. I was never letting her out of my sight again. As I laid there looking at her calm, beautiful face asleep, I calmed down and thought back to when Mia confessed her love. Even when threatened, she did it all out of love. She even stupidly risked her life for me. I thought of our child. How lucky it would be to have a mother like Mia, and how I will do everything in my power to make sure the baby and Mia are safe. She and the baby were my only family now. I just need to sort out what to do with my father. Chapter 35. Aftermath. Ian's POV. Yes, I know that he's my father. I just need to know if you're still with me, with my company. I've been trying to persuade our partners in China to stay with me in my family company for the past hour. My father left last night, but not before smashing a few vases on the way out. Like I guessed, he has also been on the phone to our business partners since early this morning. Some have stayed loyal to my father, however most have stayed with me. However, I needn't worry about business, because once my mother passed she left me all of her shares in our family business, meaning I own more of March Inc. than my father. So you with me? Fantastic, it will be a pleasure working with you. I hung up. Another successful business deal. I turned and placed my phone on the desk, but froze when something caught my attention in the corner of my eye. Mia. Her head was hung, looking at her feet. She cool dnt look me in the eyes. She thinks I am angry with her. No, never. I don't like her lying to me, but I know she did it out of love and to protect her family. I will always love her. She took a step forward, shutting my office door behind her. But I cool dnt take my eyes from her flawless beautiful face. It was glowing. Her lips were more pink and her beautiful breast even more full. How could I have not known sooner that she was pregnant? I smiled. She was carrying my child, our child. The thought of spending the rest of my life with her, with our family. Hopefully she will want more children, because with Mia, I want many. She cleared her throat, breaking the silence and pulling me from my fantasy. I am sorry. Her voice was so small and filled with fear. What? No, I ran to her and covered her tiny, fragile hands in mine. Don't apologize, you did nothing wrong. I pulled her to my chest and wrapped my arms around her. She was thinner than usual, and especially now that she was carrying our child. She really needed to start to eat more. As I held her close, she relaxed and began to weep in my arms. But I lied to you, shish, you only did it to protect yourself. I pulled away and placed my hand gently over her stomach. To protect our baby. I smiled to reassure her that she shouldn't blame herself. It was my fault for not protecting her like I should have. Her eyes wrinkled at the edge as her lips slowly rose into a perfect, pearl-teeth smile. Her radiance brightened the whole room and her smile became contagious as I joined her laughing. I picked her up and twirled her around in my arms, her laughter now erupting and filling the room. I stopped, but still held her up. She grabbed my cheeks and pooched her sweet lips onto mine briefly. I love you, Ian. I placed her down gently before falling to my knees and hugging her stomach. I love you, little one. Just as much as I love your mother. I looked up at Mia. She was smiling brightly, brushing her thin elegant fingers through my hair. The sight was breathtaking. I pulled out something from my pant pocket that I had been waiting to show Mia since the moment I met her. Will you marry me, Mia Owens? I produced my mother's ring that had been passed down through all her family. The smile spread wider across her face, but she remained still, shock. No, what? What? She said no. My heart sank. She doesn't love me, but why is she still laughing? I don't understand. I thought, let me ride your car. She beamed, as if this was a personal joke. My heart lifted at her joy and I mirrored her smile. Wait, you're telling me that our future together rests on me letting you drive my car? Unbelievable, only Mia would request such a thing. Keeping me on my toes. She nodded eagerly. I will give you the car, all my cars, everything if you'll be mine. She jumped into my arms laughing. You have a deal, Mr. Marsh, anything for you, Mrs. Marsh, my wife. The words caress my tongue as they leave my mouth. I could get used to saying them. Chapter 36. 25 weeks later. Mia's POV, pushed, the nurse repeated. I can't push any harder. This is so painful. I was squeezing Ian's hand to try and numb some of the pain. We are having no more children, I creamed down his ear as another contraction waved over me. No more. I can see the baby's head. Just a little more, Mrs. Marsh. Has this nurse never had children before? I can't push any more, please let this be over soon. Mrs. Marsh, Ian whispered seductively down my ear. Now is not the time. I was too tired to play. I pushed, hard and with everything I had left, and finally the pain went. I fell back down to my pillow as the baby's screams filled the corridor. Finally, would the father like to cut the cord?